All right. Welcome everybody to day one of our 7-day beginner series. Now, I don't want to make any promises, but if you stick around during these 7 days and actually follow along and do these little homework assignments I'm going to give you, yes, I promise it's brief, simple homework assignments. There may be something in it at the end of the week for you. All right. So again, my name is Nicole. I know some people are still hopping on. Welcome. Today, day one, we're going to take it very slow. We're going to spend the first half of the class going through a couple of features inside Sudowrite just to give you a glimpse of what it's capable of. And we'll spend the latter part of class going through some settings, making sure you're connected to resources and all of that. And I'm going to make sure you actually get set up with those resources instead of struggling like some people do. Let me check my chat box. All right. Co-host. I am going to keep chat closed. I don't see anything I need to address right away, but feel free, y'all. I tend to start talking fast when I get in the groove of things. Do not be ashamed to, again, either unmute and say, hey, can you repeat that? And can you slow down? Or you can put in chat, can somebody ask her to slow down? And somebody will. Probably Stephanie. She likes to boss me around like that. But I am not ashamed to admit I do tend to talk fast. I am going to give you a copy of this document towards the end of class because in case we have any extra prompts I want to put in here, I don't want you to have to get that link again. This will have our entire curriculum. Up here is my YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe or not subscribe. It's not a pitch. But for those who really want to dive in more, this class isn't enough, or maybe you kind of want some stuff repeated, I focus on AI and mostly Sudowrite on my YouTube channel. I even have a beginner Sudowrite playlist. Videos are about 10, 15 minutes each, and they cover one feature at a time. So again, if you want to dive in, check that out, and I hope it helps. This document I am sharing today, this thing, is a Notion document. If you are not familiar with Notion, there is a class here that was recorded. The main thing I want you to note is Notion has a free version and a paid version. You do not need the paid version. I use the free. Most of the teachers use the free. Almost everybody I know uses the free version, okay? You do not need to pay for Notion. But since most of the teachers hand out their documents via this, it is great for you to go ahead and sign up on their website. And it does walk you through doing that in this video. That way you can actually duplicate what I give you and make some changes if you want. Brief glimpse at our curriculum. Again, today is going to be covering settings, and we're going to go over a couple of features. I did introduce myself. If you have any questions, for those of you hopping on after, feel free to ask if you want to check my credentials or anything. And then each day is going to build up on the previous one. So by the time we get done with this week, you will have used or at least seen me demonstrate most of the tools inside Sudowrite, if not all of them. Again, I have some homework laid out for y'all. If you followed along, I think you're going to be in a much better position starting Sudowrite than I was 3 years ago. Something, the team hates it when we say this, but something I really, really want to stress, I cannot stress this enough, y'all. When learning how to use Sudowrite, I know you're eager to bring in that work, that story you're working on already, the story you've had in your head for years. I know that I've been there. I did the same thing. Please take a step back from that story and instead start something from scratch, which is what you're going to see us work on today. The reason being, I always liken it to learning how to sew. If you're just learning how to sew, do you start with a prom dress? Because, hey, that's really what I want to make. I have this great idea for a beautiful dress. No, you start simple. Starting with a project from scratch helps you go through all of the features, make changes. You're not worried about messing something up, and your mind's just a little bit more open to how to work with the AI and the program itself. So again, I highly recommend starting a story from scratch. Does not need to be a full-length novel. We usually recommend like a fairy tale retelling, which you're going to see today. The point is just to go through the majority of the features, use them so you understand them, understand how your instructions, your prompts to the AI affect everything. That's the point. And then you will see us, we'll go through towards all of this at the end of class. Any questions before I get started?
Chat looks good.
All righty, thank y'all. All right, so I am going to show you this really quick. So what can Sudowrite do? And how do I go about starting a story from scratch? It is this simple, y'all. So I told it, write a horrifying retelling of Three Little Pigs. I wanted the pigs to be the villains. That is it. That is all it needs. And then I created a synopsis from that. I just clicked that button. In this case, I actually loved what it gave me. But if it didn't, I would change it up. That's part of working with that story from scratch. You see what it gives you. You go back and you make changes. I can make changes with anything I don't like in this box. Go ahead and manually edit it, or I can go back to that previous box and make some changes. Maybe I thought of some more details I want. But that is what I mean by starting a story from scratch. Give it something simple in that brain dump box, which we're going to play with again, and see where it goes from there. Just take it one step at a time. Go back, make changes if you want. Do whatever, just go with the flow, learning what each button does, what all of those features do. So I really like what this did. You know, you got family of feral pigs. Mal, Gore, and Rind are our three little pigs. Let's see, how did they get started here? They slaughtered the woodcutter. It went gruesome here. I love it. They constructed the straw house. Ended up a woman went in there. They killed her too. Constructed a second dwelling. And they just set that on fire with that person inside. So it did listen. I told it I wanted something horrifying. I think it kind of went there. So I love what it gave me. So we are going to look at creating a project from scratch. So this is your home screen, okay? These are what we call project cards or your projects. You may not have anything like this. You should have a tutorial project on here. When you want to create a new one, you click this new right here. So let's say you already have one, or maybe you're in that tutorial project. You're in there, you're like, maybe it logs you back in. It's been a while since I started with Sudowrite, but I think it logs you immediately back into this. And you want to create a new project. You don't want to work on this story. No big deal. Click this home button up here in this top left. Click that. It brings you back to this screen so you can create that new project. One thing I want to point out right away, because this has caused a lot of confusion. This import button right here on this home screen, this is to import a novel, so a work in progress, and it will fill out these story Bible boxes for you. So the brain dumps, I'm sorry, not the brain dump. That's going to fill out your genre, style, not style. Look at me. I swear I know what I'm talking about, y'all. But it will fill out the boxes for you. So it's going to fill out the genre, the outline, your characters, and your world building. There is a second import. So if I go in here, there is this import. This is to import documents, meaning I can import separate chapters or something like that, and they're going to pop up as documents on the side. This will not fill out those boxes for you. All of these, it's not going to do that. If you know, hey, I have all of this information and I need the AI to sort through this for me, you want this import right here. I just want to make that clear to people. So this one is the big import where you upload up to 120K words of information, and it will sort through that for you. All right, so we're going to click new and create a new document. So you can title it whatever up here. If you don't title it, by the time it populates some words right here, it should automatically title for you. So I typically just do it. Title it whatever you'd like. And today, we are actually going to play around with first draft and with Brainstorm over here. So we're going to do a fairy tale retelling of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That will be the project we work on this week. If you want to use that, great. If you want to use something else, please, again, just come up with something simple for you to work on. Nothing major. So I'm going to show you a couple of things you can actually do with First Draft. So I am actually going to ask it to write an outline for a nonfiction book. First Draft can only be accessed with a blank document. It's in this plugins menu. You see it right here, First Draft. I type words here. It is no longer in this menu. It has to be a blank document. You can have a title up here, but you cannot have anything in that body of text. So what is First Draft useful for? Nonfiction. It is great for nonfiction, in my opinion. You can also have it do like character bios, character backstories, a bunch of fun little things, really. So I'm going to tell it, write an outline for a nonfiction book about fairy tales. And I'm going to click enter. You could put around 900 words in that box where I just told it information. It uses ChatGPT 4, maybe 4 Turbo. I think they did switch it over to that because it does cost a lot less now. But it is uncensored. I've had it write a book on how to get away with murder, a book on how to rob a bank and get away with it. It's not going to object like ChatGPT would. I got kicked out of my ChatGPT account when I asked for a book on how to get away with murder. It did not like that. So this is our outline, which came to about 438 words right here. You can see the amount. And let's see what it did for us. So again, I just told it a nonfiction outline or an outline for a nonfiction book about fairy tales. Didn't get specific. Didn't say Grimm fairy tales, Irish fairy tales, anything like that. Just very general. So we have explanation of fascination. All right, we have the history, origins, evolution, the famous ones. Reflection of cultural values. Pretty neat. So that is our nonfiction book right there, or at least the outline. Now, if I actually wanted to write this, I could take each of these sections right here and put those back in First Draft one at a time and ask it to write that way. You always want to double check this. It is AI. It can make things up. Again, it's just trying to string words together. So double check all of your information, but this is a great way to get started. I'm going to create a blank document. So under the title right here, there's the add new. Click it and you can add a new folder or add a blank document. Folders are great for organization. I'll show you this real quick. So this project right here, folder structure template. I don't actually use this project. Nothing gets written inside this project for a story. Instead, there's the 3 dots right here. I can duplicate it. That way, when I'm ready to do another one and I want my folder structure, I have it. So here's what it looks like. Basically, I just took my Scrivener formatting, the way I like my Scrivener stuff laid out, and I put it inside Sudowrite. So I have my marketing folder for things.
Already listed this stuff.
Really? Oh, wow.
Sorry, y'all. So I have my marketing folder right here for anything that catches my eye. Characters, world building, all of this stuff. And you can use folders any way you want. So I have done one for series. So my folder might be a series overview and then a folder for each book. Lots of potential right there. Folders, something else with folders should be coming out. I'm hoping it'll be ready to demonstrate tomorrow for y'all. But that's what you can do right here. So I can just click add a new folder for whatever reason I want. Or I can add a blank document. So now that I'm in another blank document, I want first draft again. And I'm going to come over here and grab my prompt. And again, I am actually going to give y'all all of this, so you'll have to play around with it. Something tricky with first draft. It likes to go ahead and write the story. When it's doing an outline like y'all just saw, it doesn't really give that much trouble. But in this instance, with all I'm giving it right here, once you give it a story premise, it really wants to go ahead and write that story for you. So this has become crucial to start giving it, telling it to avoid writing the prose, that you're only giving ideas or material for the author to use. So if first draft is something you want to play around with for character stuff, include that. It still may mess up on us. We'll see. It's just trying to do its job. So sometimes we have to play with our wording. Like I said, we can put around 900 words. So this is 627. And just so you see what I'm doing here, I am asking it to do character bios for the 7 dwarves, the evil queen, Snow White, the mirror, and the prince. I am just showing y'all different things that you can do with the features. It isn't, oh, this feature only does this feature only does that. A lot of times a feature will do different things depending on how you prompt it. That's what I'm trying to show y'all. So I'm asking for the character sheets and some world building. So let's see if it's going to listen, if it will behave. I'm going to press go. Yeah. All right, not the format I was expecting, but it is actually looking like it's doing it. So I am going to let this one go. Let's say it immediately started writing prose and you knew, hey, no, this is actually wrong. There is no stop button currently. Your refresh on your browser, that is a way to force stop it. So I could press that and it'll stop. I'm going to let this go. While this is generating, do we have any questions on anything so far?
Chat looks good. There was one question about if it just only writes nonfiction, but that was answered.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I know the sparkles kind of started going away here. And yes, I told the team I would actually pay a little bit more money each month for sparkles everywhere. I love the sparkles. Yeah, you can use this for fiction. So like here, we're doing our fiction by our character bios and stuff. Again, not the format I wanted, but I could always tweak that. If I gave it like a short story outline template, it would actually start writing that fictional short story for me. So lots of stuff you can do here with first draft. Let's see how it did. Really needs some line spacing though. All right, we have our 7 dwarves. Grumpy, perpetually annoyed, but actually the most caring. Sleepy is a procrastinator and a sleepwalker. Happy is relentlessly cheerful to the point of being a little creepy. I actually know some people like that. All right. Let's see. Doc fancies himself as the brains of the group, constantly spouting facts that are wildly inaccurate. And Dopey is our lovable goofball. All right, and then it broke down our other stuff. So Evil Queen, Snow White. I wanted a lazy mirror in here to kind of foil the Queen's plans a lot. So we have that. And of course, we have our prince, but he's just not that great at being a prince. Or at least not when it comes to the fighting and things. Yes, Cece.
Hey, Nicole, I'm sorry to interject. Charlie had a question. I thought we'd capture it right here and head it off at the pass. He says he's a little confused about Notion, using Notion to copy prompts over to the Sudowrite. So maybe we need to clarify that function for him.
Yep. And I will actually go over this more at the end of class 2 to make sure everybody gets set up with Notion and the other things. But here, when I give you this sheet, you're actually going to be able to duplicate it once you make a Notion account. And so in it, you can just highlight something and copy it. I use my keyboard keys most of the time. So I just copy it from here and paste it wherever I need it inside Sudowrite. Does that help?
Nicole, oh, go ahead. Did they help Charlie?
Yeah, so there's nothing, unless again, I'm missing something, something special about Notion. It's just the platform that you all use in. Did I get that part right?
Correct. Yes, sir. I used to use Google Docs.
Okay.
Notion has just become a easier way to organize. If I show you all of this, for example, imagine me having to look through all of my Google Docs for all of this. Each of these is a class document. Instead, Notion allows me to organize things a little bit easier for everyone.
Okay, I understand. Okay, sorry about that. I
No
wasn't
worries.
sure the
Oh,
connection.
good question. Good
Great.
question.
Thanks so much.
There was another question in chat that we did answer a little bit, but it may be something that, you may want to explain a little bit further.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a question about, could you have told AI the format that you wanted to have it output in? And so, of course, you can definitely tell AI, what your preferred format is. Say you want bullet points versus paragraph form, or you want maybe some other format outside of the one that is currently the default to a degree.
Yes, absolutely. It would just take some tweaking to this prompt, really. So let me show you this for an example. So if I go to my workflows and tips, so this used to be in our old character box. I used to want it formatted this way. This was before we have cards that you are going to have. So you see, I am telling it to format this way. You're going to see when I get to outline, I can tell it to format this way. So it will listen. It just takes that prompt. One thing you need to learn about working with AI too is a prompt can work great for like a year, and then all of a sudden it stops working. It may work again in a month or two. It may not, and you need to tweak it. So do keep that in mind. This prompt here can work great, love it, and then all of a sudden it stops working. But yes, you can definitely guide it in that direction. And that's really all it would take. Because here I didn't actually tell it, I told it what to give me, but I didn't tell it what format to give that to me in, if that makes sense. All right.
So, Nicole, if you're using this kind of, like this prompt, like right here, how would you tell it to say, I want bullet points, I want spaces between the paragraphs, I want blah?
Spaces between the paragraphs probably will not work because of the way First Draft is prompted in its output. I don't
Okay.
think that one will work. You could try it. You're welcome to try it. But basically, if I wanted to do something, I would have to sit down and work on the prompt. But it would be something like me telling it, use this format, and I would give it what I wanted. So
Okay.
maybe character name, description, attributes, whatever I want, I would list it out and organize it into the exact format I wanted. So of course I would want this indented and all that. But that's basically what you're doing. You're going to say, hey, give me this, but now I want you to use this format when you give it to me.
Okay, I see.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we could talk more about that too after class, if y'all want to play around and see if we can actually do that. All right, so does everybody kind of understand First Draft? Blank document, because if I go here now, that stuff is in this document. First Draft is not in this list. I have to create a blank document, and then I can use First Draft right here. All right, so now we're going to play with that story from scratch. So I will give y'all day 2, that's why. So we are going to kick it off. right, so this is actually what we will be putting in our brain dump. So I'm giving this to y'all now. That way y'all can decide if y'all want to use it, if y'all even want to play around with it before class. Sorry, my thing just kind of moved around on me. Right, so that's what we're going to be working on all of this week. So if you want to use that, or if you want to take the time and come up with something else, again, highly recommend coming up with that project from scratch. But that is basically what all of these prompts are centered around, that story prompt. So we're going to move on to brainstorm, and this is one of my other favorite features. So I am going to tell it to give me some catchy opening lines. And then I am going to ask it, change this up, I already have it down here, for the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs retelling. So let's look at brainstorm first though, so I have an idea of what's going on here. There are all of these boxes. Do not get overwhelmed by these boxes. I am going to quickly click into each one or some of them. I don't want you to bother reading it. I just want you to notice the layout, okay? So if I go into this dialog box, give me a list of context examples, okay? If I go into objects, give me a list of context examples. It's the same. It is the same in every one of these things that you click into. The difference in those different boxes is they are pre-filled with whatever that topic is, just to give you examples. But I can delete all of this. So even though I'm in the article one, I think is what I clicked into, I can just delete all of this and ask it to give me lines of dialogue. That does not matter. The boxes are only here to give you pre-filled examples to help you get started quicker. I will tell you, Brainstorm is amazing. If there are any lit RPG authors, this is one of my favorite tools to use for potions, spells, armor, all of that stuff. And if you don't want to bother with deleting things, just come to that something else and everything is blank. So I'm going to copy, excuse me, while I bounce back and forth real quick. Telling it what I want a list of, catchy opening lines. I want a mix of dialogue and narrative opening hooks. And I'm going to put this in the context box. This one up here is actually the exact output. We played around in this at the end of a class, and it just worked so amazing. So I wanted to try it again with this one. But mafia romance or dark romance, or maybe even romantasy with enemies to lovers, you might want to play around with this one. It gave us some amazing output. I'm hoping it will do that again for us now. So context, I'm doing the comedic retelling of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I want that bumbling princess, unhinged dwarves, psychopathic queen, and a lazy mirror. That way it has some variety here. So this box is all about what are you wanting to brainstorm? Are you wanting to brainstorm some names, objects, weapons, spells, things like that? You could give it any context. Hey, this is a dark fantasy or a buddy comedy. Whatever you want to give it right here. You don't have to. You see, they say optional. Examples, you can give it an example of something. I find this one, giving it an example of a line of dialogue works extremely well. Let's say you're looking for like catchphrases or one-liners that your main character can drop. If you have at least one in mind and put that here, it works great. So I'm going to click that to start. Mirror, mirror on the wall, why do I have to deal with this bumbling, it definitely doesn't rhyme, huh? With this bumbling princess, can't I just have a nice, quiet life as a reflective surface? Definitely not. Certainly wasn't the princess who slept through her own wedding. So not bad. I think it could actually do better. And if I wanted to change stuff, I could go back here and change up whatever I wanted. So let's see what happens if we take this part out. And this is exactly why I say start with a story from scratch. If I was really invested in this story, I might not want to take it out. I might be afraid, no, it doesn't know what I'm trying to do. If you're starting with that story from scratch, you don't care what it does. So I edited that, and I can click refresh right here for it to give me some new things. If I didn't want to edit anything and I just wanted new ones, hey, just go straight to the refresh. So I'm going to, oh, I can't on this screen. Something I want you to keep in mind, anytime I click the thumbs down or thumbs up, that's going to cost me credits, okay? This generation, all of these cards just cost me credits. Not that much. It's a very small amount. But as soon as I click one of these thumbs, a card is going to replace that. So each card costs a little bit more credits. That's what I want y'all to keep in mind. So it's thumbs up if I want to save it, thumbs down if I hate it and I want a different card. So let's see. Once upon a time, there was a princess so beautiful. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I like that one.
Nicole, could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So when you do brainstorm, that's attached to a certain project that you've created, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So it'll be in that project. You're going to see it whenever we go back into it. You'll see it pop up on the side, all of these ones that I've saved. Now,
Okay.
if I don't save any of them, like all of these that I don't click to save, I can't get those back. So if you think you even might want it, go ahead and click that thumbs up so it comes over here and saves.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And y'all, please don't be afraid to interrupt or apologize. I really don't mind. Who's the sassiest? I'm not gonna lie, I mean, these aren't as good as our original prompt with the Dark Mafia romance and the enemies. So I actually want to throw that in there, if y'all don't mind, and see the difference if it's still giving us some good stuff from that. Maybe it was just having an awesome day that day. These aren't bad. I could actually work with these and improve them. So I'm going to save this. And so here is our saved stuff right here. And the brainstorm, if I go to look at recent activity, and we are going to go through all of these so you know how to get all that. So you see those little cards and those generations right here. It's not bad, just a couple hundred credits.
While you were there, can you just touch a little bit on the credit system? I think everybody would benefit from that. Just to go over it briefly. You have a question in the chat.
Okay. So credits are, of course, with that plan. So if I go to manage membership, this is one of the plans that you purchase, right? Actually, I think they're different. I'm grandfathered in from being with them for a while. So y'all's might be a little bit different in the amounts that you get. I'm not sure what y'all's screen will show. But you pick one of these plans. So this is saying you get 225,000 credits per month. This only gets used whenever you click the button for the AI to do something. So that means if you're one of those who wants to write the majority of your story, you're not going to go through these credits as fast as somebody who's just clicking that button and having the AI do a lot of work. When you run out of these credits each month, you do have the option to buy what's called credit packs. So we'll get into that. What I want you to do or think about is don't stress so much on which plan is right for me. No matter if you do monthly or the yearly up here, do pay attention to that toggle. I've had people or heard people say, oh, I accidentally bought the yearly. I meant to do the monthly. Yearly is going to charge you that yearly price up front, but you do save some money. So watch that toggle. But it doesn't matter if you pay monthly or yearly and which plan you choose. At any time, you can always upgrade or downgrade. Okay, so it's very flexible.
If the plan, if you don't use up all the credits, does it roll over or is it just start from scratch?
The only one that will roll over is the max plan.
Okay.
That is the only one currently. Now, if you buy credit packs, and go back over here. So where it says buy more credits,
Mhm.
these are credit packs. These do not ever expire. And these will kick in, let's say I buy just 1,000,000 extra credits just because I only have like a week before my next month kicks in. So I'm buying this and I only use maybe 200,000 of these credits. Then my monthly plan kicks in again. Well, now it's going to switch to using my monthly credits since those do expire unless you're on the max. And then if I run out of my monthly again, then it will go back to using these. But these will never expire. They will always stay associated with your account until you go through them. So that's the great thing about credit packs.
Yep.
And we
Thank-
will cover this again towards the end too. So if y'all have some more questions on that, I realize that was just a very brief overview. All right, so let's see if our brainstorm can give us better output here. 'Cause I know it can do better. I want y'all to see that it can do better. So let's try our enemies to lovers that we loved so much the last time and see what happens. I never thought the man I was hired to kill would end up becoming the love of my life. Not bad, but gets a little cheesy. I always knew I would end up murdering him. Honestly, I kind of would have just left it at that probably. Never wanted to fall in love with a man I should have hated, but here we are. No. Never thought I'd be standing here staring into the eyes of the man who ruined my life, but here we are, both of us with guns pointed at each other's heads. So I like that one. So again, you could thumbs up the ones you really like for it to give you more in that vein. First time I saw him, he had a gun pointed at my head. Great. Sounds like my kind of story right there. So that is Brainstorm. I'm going to save, exit that. And again, it's great for lit RPG stuff. Just tell it you want a list of potions, whether it's for health, mana, or just a variety, spells, armor, all of those sorts of things right there. Let's close this out, and I am going to share this with y'all. And then we're going to go over more of our setting stuff. So for those not familiar with the Notion, these triangles, click those, and that opens up, expands stuff for you, okay? That's just a way to be able to scroll through. So I'm going to share this so we can actually go through this document together and start talking about some of the settings more. So before I start diving into settings or anything, is there any questions on First Draft or Brainstorm or creating a new project?
Chat looks okay.
All righty. So let's start at this top right of our screen. These are some things that you need to know about. Clicking that gear icon. You could change the font for stuff right here. I hear the dyslexic one actually works great. To change that up, you can change your text size. All of this is self-explanatory pretty much, right? But this is ways you can kind of customize it to your needs. You have different themes. I am on the psychotic sorbet right now for whatever reason. My usual go-to is actually charcoal, but I've been told that that isn't so helpful or easy to see during demonstrations. But play around with those, see which one you like. Go back to sorbet so I can easily see things. Pretty self-explanatory toggles right here. And then this is what we just looked at. So buy more credits. That is for you to buy a credit pack. Now you see when I hover over mine, that box pops up. That will only pop up if you buy a credit pack because that box distinguishes between credits that expire, your monthly subscription, versus credits that don't expire, your credit packs. So if you don't have that pop up, it's not an error, not a bug. It's just that you have not bought a credit pack and there's no need to distinguish anything yet. As soon as you buy a credit pack, you'll have that hover box too. So that hover box will tell me my credits expire or roll over on November 13th. I have the max plan so that mine will roll over. It actually gives you the exact time that happens. I have found the time is usually an hour or two off. So keep that in mind. And it tells me how many credits were purchased as a one-time credit pack. The show recent activity does just that. So our recent activity was all these brainstorms. It has been requested that it go further back. I don't know how far up on their priority list that is, but I know they are listening to that and seeing how many people want it. This show credits pop up, I usually leave it off. What that does is if it's toggled on, whenever you actually run a feature inside the project, it'll briefly pop up in that corner how many credits were used. And of course, billing, I can go in there and change my billing stuff. Manage membership. This is where you can switch to a different plan if you want. You can actually pause or cancel your plan. If you are on the yearly, you cannot pause your plan. Or it will pause it, but it'll pause after that year. So if you need like it paused right now and you purchase the yearly, contact hi@sudowrite.com. That's hi, H-I, at sudowrite.com. And they can pause it for you. Just let them know. And of course, if you need to change your card information, there's the billing stuff. This start tour, that's just bringing you back to that tutorial you might have seen at your the first time you entered Sudowrite. Those of y'all just coming on, y'all actually have a much better, more comprehensive tutorial than we did. This was pretty much it, working with a few of the laser tools that we'll go over later this week. Y'all have a very nice little tutorial right now walking you through some things. And then I can just click End Tour right here. So your start tour might actually be different than mine right now. You can have more than one Sudowrite account. I have two. They do not care. I actually thought it was against the terms of service when somebody mentioned it at first, and they said no, it is not against their terms. You can have as many accounts as you want. So that is also an option if you want to do the math. Does it work out in your favor to do two of the lowest tiered plans? I have one where it's my teaching account, one where my personal account works out great for me. I know a few people that actually have different accounts for their pen names. So again, whatever works for you, that is another option. All right, the question mark. This is the one you'll probably use the most. FAQs will bring you to our Sudowrite stock. Great thing about this, you can scroll through, go through whatever information you want, or you can click up here where it says search for articles. And I can type in, I know what it's going to say, which plan is best for me? And I can click Ask AI. And it'll pop up with an answer right here, or it's best. It's going to say, hey, yep, there you go. Depends on your writing habits and goals. If you want this to be a full-time career, I'm telling you, you need the middle or the max. I love the max just because there's rollover, because there's plenty of times I'm editing like I have been the last couple of months, and I'm not using my credits hardly at all right now. So it's nice to know that they're rolling over and not getting wasted on me. But you can ask different things to it. So one thing we'll be covering later this week, what are beats? See what it tells us about that. Step-by-step instructions used by the Story Bible to generate prose. There we go. So it's a great way to get some questions answered right away. You could click this to join our Discord. And this is our Discord right here. So that's the easiest way to join. Just click that, join the Discord. You'll go to the channels and roles. It should prompt you to actually fill this out right away. So do that. If you're writing in other languages, definitely check these out. We also have classes on that. And the guide actually brings you back to that Sudowrite docs. Suggest a feature. We actually have this as a channel in the Discord or this website right here that just kind of lets you know what's being worked on. They're actually going to merge the two soon. So something's going to be different there. I'm just not sure what. I don't think they've figured it out yet. Another place. We have this Sudowrite and Friends. So this is a brand new group. We just started. So if Sudowrite is not for you, Discord is not for you, you're having too much trouble getting in there, try the Facebook group. It's very quiet right now, so I would love for more people to get in there and get it active. So you have Discord and the new Facebook group. You have report a bug. So this is great if you're actually in the project right here. The question mark and gear icon stay the same. Well, let's say I'm in the project. I worked inside first draft. Something buggy happened with first draft. Okay, come over here to that question mark. Click report a bug. Tell it, hey, I was doing such and such in first draft. This happened. If I have a screenshot or a little video, I can attach that. But this gives it information, tells it which browser I'm using and the project that I was working in. And you can submit that. You can also report a bug on the home screen. The difference is it's not attached to a project because you're on the home screen. So if you actually want them, if you're having trouble inside the project, please be inside the project to report a bug. The more information you could give them here, the faster they can resolve the issue. All right, email, that's the hi@sudowrite.com. Chat, I keep saying the wrong thing. I wish Michael was here to correct me on this. I believe this is only available. Let me see. No, it is coming up to through the AI. So it's not like an immediate chat. If it is an immediate chat, it will probably only be valid Monday through Friday during their regular business hours. Sudowrite is a small team, y'all. We're talking like less than 10 people, maybe 10 now. They're very small. That's why we're able to talk to them more. They listen to us, take things into account, but they can get overwhelmed at times, especially with how fast they have grown. I mean, they have thousands of users. Last I saw, it was over 10,000. So, I mean, think about that. That's basically having 1,000 users per team member, and several of the team members are focused on engineering, coding, all that type stuff. So please try to be patient with them. If you email them 11 o'clock in the morning, understand that 30 minutes later, you may not have a response. It can take them a few days. On that note, inside the Discord, there is actually a support channel. So where it says support right here, if you're having an issue, you can open a ticket. It is the same thing pretty much as emailing them. It goes to the same email address, same people respond. So that could be an option for you. Let me go here so I can go through and make sure I covered everything. Again, for those who came in a little bit late, here's a YouTube
Nicole,
channel.
can I stop you for a second? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
How do we check if a feature's been suggested?
So you can actually search for it. Bigger outline. You can search for that. And then it'll bring up anything that's kind of associated with that. Was there something in particular you were looking for?
Voice, being able to dictate.
Ah, that has been brought up recently. Let me see. No. So I know in the Discord, that's the great thing about being part of the Discord, y'all. Pretty much y'all can do anything here. Y'all can ask for help. Lots of teachers, ambassadors, other experienced users will chime in with their advice and tips. You can open that support ticket, and you can also suggest things. So there is feedback and ideas. Let's see if something's been mentioned here. Nope. I'm just trying one more because I thought I saw something. What is it? Voice to text? Nope. So it doesn't look like it's been actually brought up, although I thought it had. I know a few users have mentioned it lately, and it does work with other features. So if you have like Dragon,
Yeah,
there's
you and
another,
I were talking about it.
yeah, there's another one that a user recommends too for working inside Sudowrite. So it does work with extensions, browser extensions that will help you do it. You can do it that way. Like I said, it has been brought up a few times, so I know it's kind of on their radar, but you can definitely make a post there and let it get
Okay.
upvoted. The more upvotes something has, the higher it goes up on their priority list. So please browse that channel, upvote anything that you really want.
Okay.
All right, so we have the YouTube channel. If y'all really want to dive into classes or some shorter videos, like I said, that beginner playlist for Sudowrite is about 10-15 minutes per video. Notion class, so if you want to learn more about Notion. We have our curriculum for the 7 days. So tonight, again, if y'all can come each day this week, I understand life might get in the way. You might not be able to make a class or two. But if y'all can come this week each day and work through these homework steps, might be able to offer y'all something at the end of that. But homework for tonight, just go through that little gear icon and pick your settings and themes, whatever you want to work with, that sorbet, charcoal, whatever other one. And if you're choosing not to work on the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs premise, come up with a short little premise to work on. Again, please, I cannot state it enough. To start with a story from scratch. Doesn't need to be a fairy tale retelling if that's not your thing. I brought a work in progress in when I started with Sudowrite, and I struggled for 2 weeks straight, being so aggravated, annoyed, depressed that it wasn't doing what I wanted. And I realized I don't know how to get it to do what I want because I don't know how to work the program. So I went in, created a new project, and I gave it a 1-sentence summary. It was actually something along the lines of a disease is killing off werewolf packs and 2 alphas have to unite to find a cure. That was it. And I just rolled through that project. I actually ended up publishing that. Not a great book. It was my first AI book. Pretty horrible, actually. But hey, I did it. I learned how to use Sudowrite, and from there, I can do pretty much anything now. So just try to take that time and do that story from scratch. I promise you, it will save you frustration. So here's our rest of our agenda. You can get a brief look at it, but we will have some quick homework things each night. And under the day 1 topics. So if you liked instead that horrifying retelling of the 3 little pigs, there's that story premise. Here's the things we went over. So that documentation where you can ask the AI something, Discord server again, the private Facebook group, and to register for our classes. All of our classes are free. You can register for as many as you want. And then here are the prompts we used for first draft and brainstorm. So you can play around with those if you'd like. So does everybody have this document? Everybody got the link for that?
John Z needs it, Nicole.
All righty.
I think we have one question about, do you recommend desktop or web version for Notion?
I use both. Just whichever one I put. If I'm on my laptop, no, actually, I usually use the web version on both my laptop and my desktop, but I have my iPad and my iPhone that I'm, of course, always using the app for, and they sync up very nicely. And again, do not pay for Notion unless you absolutely want to. But I use the free. I have no issues with it. So y'all do not need that paid version of Notion. All right, so I realize we're just a little over the hour. I want to make sure everybody is able to get into the Discord or Facebook group that wants to. So I am actually going to stop the recording and hang around and help anybody that needs it, or if you need help setting up with Notion. But before I stop the recording, do we have any questions on anything that y'all want to ask that might be helpful for other users?
Nicole, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
So, if we miss a session this week, I know it's being recorded. Where do we find that session?
So that is in the Discord channel as well. There is
Okay.
a channel called Course Videos right here. So you can actually
Okay.
search up something. So you can search up the Notion class right here that I linked.
Okay, great.
Now, keep in mind, it usually takes about a week for classes to get uploaded.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
They are a little bit behind right now because they're trying to get some more people hired. Again, they're growing very quickly. So they are a little bit behind, but typically it takes about a week for a class to get uploaded.
Right. And this is 7 days in a row, the class, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. The other question I have is all of these folks, these authors that are writing books, where are these books going? Are they mostly going to Amazon Kindle? Are they all over the place? What is the spread out there? Do you know?
So a little bit all over. I know some people just write like fan fiction. So of course they're going to, I always get the letters wrong. AOW3, A3, something with those letters in some certain order. That's
Okay.
where a lot of the fan fiction
AO3.
goes. I'm sorry, what is
AO3.
it? AO3, thank you.
Hmm.
So that's the fan fiction place. Some people do just erotica short stories and have various websites they post on. I would say the majority though, especially if you're serious about making this a career, we post on Amazon, whether that's Kindle Unlimited or just through Amazon and some others. That is the majority. Vella, I know several authors have some Vella series out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you, Cece. Am I going to upload this to my YouTube channel? I do not know, to tell you the truth. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I will hang around just to make sure everybody gets set up the way they need to, or if you were uncomfortable with asking a question on the recording, please feel free to ask. But thank you for joining me for day one, and I do sincerely hope you join us for the other days. As I mentioned, this is going to be a slow-paced series, so hopefully by the end of it, you really understand everything and feel comfortable going in and using Sudowrite on your own. All right, bye everyone.
Thanks so much. This was great.
Yes, sir.